Hello and welcome back to our Down and Dirty mini movies. This is video number 14 in our short film help series, where basically I bring you just a quick down and dirty videos of our TopCon product portfolio. Normally they're requests from the sales reps that need just a little bit more information on a particular product or functionality of that product. Today we're going to be talking about digital levels and basically how to run a level loop with those. Basically it's just a product that we don't show enough of. Now some of the things we're going to be covering today are going to be connected to a level, and it's going to be an FC5000 to a DL502, and we're going to be connected with a USB cable to Hiroshi connector since the level is not Bluetooth. We're going to be measuring a level loop, show you those examples of a backsides and foresides. We can check in and see what our residuals are, our closing distance. And if that's not good enough, I'm going to go through an example of sending it up to Enterprise and then bringing it into Magnet Tools and running a quick adjustment on that. So just enough information to be able to allow our salesman to demonstrate this properly. Now, again, just down and dirty sales demo for true training lessons. We have that information on our TopCon e-learning website. And then also check out the tons of information you can find on the app, the My TopCon Now app. You can see that right on your phone, or you can get that directly from the web browser at mytopconnow.topconpositioning.com. So without further ado, let's get started. So here's a quick look at the USB to Hiroshi cable that we will be connected to the digital level. Now with the USB cable plugged in and I'm hooked up to the internet, I'm going to go into our settings on the 5000 and go to Device Manager. Now inside Device Manager, if you'll come down, you'll see that we have a USB serial connection here, and we're going to basically just update the drivers on that. So I'm hooked up to the internet. It's going to reach out, find those drivers, and actually bring those in. So once that's complete, once you close out of here, if you look, once this updates the list, we have a USB to serial cable, which is COM4. So I have a brand new job. I'm ready to start collecting data pretty much. There's no points of any kind in here. One of the first things I want to do is go to configure my survey, and we'll take a look at our level profile, and let's edit that and make sure it matches the model that we're going to be using. So I'll click edit, go to next, and my model is a DL502, so that is correct. Click next. This level is not Bluetooth, so I have to use a cable. That's that USB cable we talked about. And then I'll just use the default settings from here on out. So let's click OK to get back to the main menu. Next, let's go to Connect and switch this from our GPS to our optical, and then verify we do have the correct COM port chosen, which is COM4 for that USB cable, and we'll click Connect. So next, let's go right into level run, and I want to give this a name, and I'll just call this one number 14, the same as my movie. And any notes, if you want to put notes in here, you can do that. You don't have to. I'll just call this a sales demo, and click OK, and then next. So now we're ready to begin measuring information. So here we have a typical drawing of a level loop where you set up, shoot a backside foresight, move up, backside foresight, and you continue that process. When you get ready to turn around and come back, go ahead and move that instrument a little bit and shoot that as a backside and then foresight and come back to the beginning point. Now I'm going to start a level run, and I got to give it a point number, a point whatever. I'm going to use point number 1, and I'm going to give it an elevation of 500. I do have to have a beginning point number. I've got the level set up. I'm going to measure to my original benchmark, which is 500, elevation of 500. And I've got the information here as far as the distances that I've shot, the height of instrument, and so forth. I'm going to move the rod to my next turning point and shoot that as a 4-shot point. All right, once I've measured that, the rod's going to stay there. I'm going to move up and then measure that point again as a back sight. I'm going to transfer that rod to your next turning point and measure that as a 4-sight point. I'm going to pick up the instrument, move it ahead, level it up, measure back as a back sight to 101, and then repeat the process going forward all the way through. And I've got one more delta point to shoot as point number 103, and I'll shoot that as a 4-sight point. Then I move up. Now I'm going to take a back sight on 103, and then when I continue on from here, my next point is the beginning point, which is point number 1. Now I could shoot that at point number 104 and compare those, but like my traverse that I've done before with optical, I'm going to rename this back to point number 1. That's the original point name, and I'll go ahead and measure that as a 4-sight shot, and it notices that that point already exists. And would you like to update the elevation of the existing point? Now I'm going to say yes, and I have an option here to rename it to a different point number, but I'm going to store this as a checkpoint. And it will show you the closure here of 1/100th of a foot. Now I'm going to click on the data tab, and you can see information about this level run that we run, and just general information and total distances and so forth. And we can save this as a report as a text file in the default. It goes to the results folder inside our jobs folder. So well, I'll give that a name, and I'll save that just in case I need that later. All right, now if this 1/100th is good enough, that's probably all you need to do. But if you want to run a full adjustment on it, we'll take that to Magnet Tools and do that there. Now what I'm going to do to get it there, I'm going to go to Connect, click on the Enterprise tab, and I'm going to connect to my Enterprise an account. And I'm going to upload this file, but first I want to hit this little icon and create a project inside Enterprise. And I can give that the same name as my job file. So this is a new project inside Enterprise. So once that is created, I'm going to go back to the home screen. I'm going to go to Exchange, to Enterprise, and I'm connected to my company inbox here, and I'm going to choose that project in Enterprise I just created. And over here on the right, I can upload a file. We'll click that, and let's upload the current file. We're going to be uploading the complete file as a zip file to my Enterprise account. Now I'm not going to, yeah, there we go. Magnet job zip file. So we're done with Magnet Field. We got our job in Enterprise. Let's execute Magnet Tools. So when I open up my Magnet Tools, I keep the wizard active so I can open recent jobs, existing jobs, and so forth, or create a brand new job. So we'll just create us a brand new job. I'm going to call this job number 14 like we've been using. You can fill out this information here for reports, and you can actually create a folder to store all your raw data into. You have configurations of basically of your data that you want to adjust. I do not have a digital level one created yet, so I'll just choose total station for this example right now, and I'll show you later how to save a specific one for the level. So with this filled out, let's go to the next screen. Gives us options to change display settings on the way. We'll click next, different coordinate systems, and I'm going to change the unit of feet because that's what we measured out in the field and stored it in. There's no more next, so let's hit create. So when it opens up, not sure what you're going to be seeing, but I have some views here from post-processing data that I don't need. So let's clean this up real quick and close those out. And then I'm going to be also working in this lower screen. I just want to show you that you can give yourself some more real estate to work if you want to. So next, we need to retrieve our data from Enterprise and bring it into this Tools project. So we have an Enterprise tab at the top, and over on the left-hand side, we're going to log in and make sure your email address there and your password, and then just click log in. Now if you have issues here, just make sure you don't have too many people logged in other computers or data collectors, depending on how many credentials you have. And once it logs in, you'll notice at the top all my icons become active. They were grayed out. So here we have our uploads and downloads tabs and so forth from Enterprise. I do want to clarify, if you click on jobs, the import and export your data here is retrieving data from maybe another position on your computer. But we're going to go to Enterprise tab, download. It reads my complete jobs list. I'll pick my job number 14 and then pick the file inside there. Now I could check on a local directory and have it download this here. I do just want to import it directly into this project. You need at least one of those checked. So as it reads the files on import, we have an option to turn off things we don't need. I'm going to leave everything checked and click OK. So it brought the data in. We can close out of the download dialog box altogether. So I see the data here that I'm working with. I have a points tab that shows the information of the coordinate values. Stakeout reports, there's nothing there. And then under the DL observations, this is basically all your raw data of your foresight and backsight measurements on the rod. In case there was a major error, you could edit that here. We have a standard deviation column here, but I'm more importantly going to be looking at that under the points tab when we process our data. Now under here, we have our columns that, for our names, and we can sort them ascending or descending. As you notice here, here's point number 1 that we began in magnet field of 0, 0 coordinates with the elevation of 500 for our starting benchmark. Now I'm going to click on point number 1, and you can edit this information from these little dialog box for like under control if I want to hold that for vertical. You have limited capabilities here, but if you double click on the point number, it brings up a complete properties dialog box that we can do a lot more editing easier here. So under control for point number 1, I'm going to hold that for vertical. Okay. If I needed to change the coordinate values, or let's say the starting elevation, I can change that here also. We'll leave that alone. And you can run through these tabs at the top for different things. Basically under the point coordinate set, I want to show you this because I shot this point twice, where I shot it when I began and then I shot it again as a checkpoint at the end, and notice that we have 5/1000ths of error here. Magnet field showed basically 1/100th of closure. I guess it rounded that up. Just want to make note of that particular information. So once you're satisfied with all the point properties and you've made all the changes that you want, just apply this, and then when you click OK, it'll close this dialog box out. So we have point number 1 here. We're holding it for vertical control and we're leaving the elevation for that benchmark of 500 feet at this time. So everything's looking good. We're going to go to job, and before we process this, I want to go to job configuration. Now there's a lot of parameters in here that we can play with. We're not training you on this, so I just want to show you where you want to go. Go to quality control, and you have different tabs for whether it's total station or GPS. We want to go to the digital level observation precision. Now under the precision order, there's several classes of level runs you can do. We have 2 classes of first order level runs and 2 classes of second, and then the third order level run, and even a custom. I'm going to choose third order. Now let's go ahead and come down to the save configuration here, because we're going to save this for future and I don't have to choose all the changes later on. So let's just type in a configuration name for this particular profile. So we'll just call this a third order level run and click OK. Now when we began the job, we chose a configuration, and if you look here on the list, we can see the list here, and you could choose your configuration in this location if you want to, but that's where it's going to be saved to. So next, we have our third order checked. We'll click OK. Now we're ready to process the data. So we're going to go to process, and we have an adjustment tab. Now you have different options based on the type of raw data that you have, but with level run I can't do a compass rule, so it's going to be a least squares, so we'll choose least squares. So you have a processing dialog box that starts to work over here, gives you information. Basically we're just holding one vertical control point, talks about basically the information about the run. So we'll just click OK. And now under standard deviations, column under points, we can see that there's 2 thousandths that are distributive error on those particular points. So thank you for watching, and if you have suggestions for other short down and dirty videos for demonstration purposes, please let me know and I'll try to see what I can do. Thank you.